Hello everyone, welcome back to my another video. So on this video we will be looking into style components. So basically, if you don't know what style component means, it's another way to apply styles to your like any sort of application. So I'm just going to show you on React on this video, but you can use the same thing on other JavaScript frameworks as well. So by the end of this video, you should have a clear understanding of how you can use style components and start using them on your own project. So without further ado, let's get started. So on my left hand side, I just created a normal React application, and I have just one component here, which is this form.js. And it has a basic styling. I'm using the styles based on the traditional CSS approach. And what we'll be doing is we will be migrating these styles into style components. All right, now before even using the style components, the thing that you want to install is the style components library itself. So all you need to do is open the terminal and do npm I style-components. Right, let's go ahead and install that one. I'm going to close the terminal. Now, the place we want to start is we will be starting from the app.js file. I don't have much styles going on over here, but let's start from app.js and then we can move on to the components. So the way to use it, style components, so all you need to do is wherever you're trying to apply the style components, on that directory, create a file called, since I'm trying to apply the style components on app.js file, what I like to do is I just name the file for style components as app.style.js. So that way I will know, like what style component, like it refers to whenever I'm looking at the project. Now the function that we need to import to make a use of the style components is style itself, and it's going to come from a style components. This is the like massive thing that we'll be using on most of the scenarios. So in order to use style components, what you need to know is basically we're trying to like apply the styles on this div right here. So the way to do it is go to your .style files. Just make sure, let's get rid of the CSS file, import from here. As soon as I save that, my form is shifted to the left, but that's all right. We're going to fix that. Okay, let's start creating the style components. The way to create a style components is you can just do const, and you can write the name of the style components. What I like to do is normally I start with the word style and followed by what I'm trying to style. So over here, the class name is app, and we're styling the div, right? So I'll just do style div. Since this is like the really high level div, I'll just do style div container. It doesn't matter, like just make sure like whatever suits your need, just make sure like you write those names so that like you don't get confused whenever you come back in the like later on the project. Equals to, and the thing that we imported here, style, we're gonna call that style. Now since we're trying to apply the styles to div element right here, all you need to do is just do style.div. And we're going to use two backticks here. These are not the regular quotes, they are backticks. And just like that. And I'm just going to export it. I'm going to use the named export. I'm just going to copy this and save it. And while I do that, I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to initialize the get, because I'm going to push this code later on. All right, get is initialized. Let me save that. And the way you will use, right now we're not adding any styles, but it's fine. Now we are trying to use this in app.js file, so I'm just going to copy this, go back here, and just use the regular import, like you use to import any React components. And it's going to come from /app.style. Now since we have imported this, now we can make a use of this. Now instead of this div, what we can do is just change this div to style div container. As soon as we save it, we're not going to see any changes. The reason is we don't have any styles yet. So let's start adding the styles. Just to make the video, like shorter, I'm just going to copy the styles because there is no point of going through, like CSS changes, because this is not the, like that's not the purpose of this today's video. I'm just going to copy paste it. As soon as I do that, like I get my styles back. Now, since we have already dealt with it, now I'm going to go back to app.js file. I can get rid of the class name because we don't need that now, and come back here, and I can simply delete app.css files too. Now everything should work as as is. Now we're done with our app.js file. So if you notice, because we're not using any class name over here, if we come back here and inspect it right here, so this was the div that we got rid of, but as you can see on the browser, it still has the div, and it adds the class name by itself as by following, like it starts with sc, meaning style components, and it adds the unique value over here. So that way, style component is going to handle everything, like regarding class name for you. So as you know, like CSS is a, like works as cascading. If you mess up with any sort of class name, like that's where you see bugs related to styles. But this is pretty cool because we don't have to deal with the style components. Are going to do heavy lifting for us. All right, now let's do the similar thing for the components. I'm going to go to form.js, and I'm going to open this form.style, not form.css file. Let's get rid of this app.js from here. Now I'm going to create a new file with the same format, form.style.js, and I'm going to import style from style components. Now I want to get rid of this form.css, so that way you will see all of the, so this is how it looks like now, since we don't have reference to styles, and we're going to fix bits by bits. I will go here. I want to start with the top, so I'm targeting the form class name. If I go to the form.js file, form class name is right here, and it has the element of form. So now what I can do is do const style form equals to, now we're going to use that style that we imported, dot, and if we go back here and check, this is the form element, so I can just do style.form backticks and export it, style form. I'm going to copy that, come back here, import style form from form.style, and instead of this regular form, I'm just going to put the style form. Okay, it didn't change this for me. All right, let's see. Now, as soon as I save it, it's not going to do anything, but it's fine for now. We can get rid of this class name. We won't see any changes up here. Now, what I want to do is inside this, since we are targeting this form element, right, which previously had the class name of form, I can just simply copy this CSS from here, go back here, and just paste it there. Now we are getting some sort of styles back. Now the next thing that I want to style is form header. So this form header is this s2 tag right here. I can simply do const style header equals to style dot, and I'll look over the HTML element. So that's s2. So I just do s2 and backticks and come back here, do the same thing. I'm going to copy the styles from here, just put it right there, copy this, All right, and since this is exported, I can make a use of it here. And instead of this s2 tag, now I can use the style header. Now, since we already did that, I can get rid of this class name. This class name shouldn't matter at this point because we're not importing the CSS file too, but since we're tackling one by one, we're going to get rid of this one by one. Now, our form is looking a little bit better. Now, the next thing that we need to fix is, since we already dealt with form header, now let's deal with the form input. So if we go back to form.js file, our form input is the input field. So this is the element that we want to target. I'm going to come back here to const style input equals to style dot input is the element that we're targeting, backticks, come back to the regular CSS, just copy and paste. Now let's export it so that we can make a use of those on form.js file. I'm gonna come at the top, style input. So if you notice, we have 3 input fields and all of them have the same class name. So we're gonna change all of these input fields, this one right here, and this one, and change it to style input. As you can see, now all of them are, like it looks good. Now I'm gonna get rid of this class name as well from here. All right, let's save it. Now the only thing left to do, if I'm not wrong, is deal with this button. This is form.button, and this button is coming from here. So now let's do const style button equals to style dot, since we're targeting button element, use 2 backticks, and inside that we already have a CSS that goes in there. Let's just copy that, come back here, and now we're gonna export it. Now go back to form.js file, style button. Now instead of this regular button, we're going to use that button, and we can get rid of this class name. Now as you can see, our HTML looks way cleaner than earlier because we don't have those like unwanted class names, and we still have the same styles. Now since we already did everything here, we can just get rid of this thing. Now that's pretty much it, like how you use style components. Now what we're going to be looking at now is, we will be looking at how you can make these style components, because the whole purpose of doing this thing is it just looks like regular CSS, but why do we want to do it, right? So the reason we want to do it is we can make make these styles. Since they are style components, we can make a use of them like like regular React's reusable components. We can make them reusable. The way to do it is, one way to do it would be like through props. Let's say for example, for this button right here, let's say you want to have the width of same, height of same. The only thing that will be different if you use this component anywhere else on your project is, let's say, background color. Right now it's defaulting to blue, but depending upon your use case, that's the only thing that might change. So how do you achieve this? The way to do it is through props. Right now this style button only has prop of type, right? We can pass the prop called busy, which I'm referring as a background color. I can just do red. Now it's not going to do anything because we haven't make a use of those. So the way to make a use of background, like that props, is you can use, since we're dealing with the backticks, right, we can use string manipulation here. All you need to do is use $sign and curly braces, Inside that, you can pass a callback function, and you can pass the argument of props, and now you can access all of the props that are being passed over here. You can do something like props dot what is the name of the prop that we passed? It's busy, right? That's what we define. You can do it props dot busy. Alright, so this will work, but what if someone does not pass the background color? So in that case, then you can use OR operator, then use blue. So what it means is if somebody does not pass the props of background color, then you use the blue. So the way to test it is, I'm just going to copy this fragment from here and duplicate it. I'm going to get rid of this background color, just like that, and instead of submit, I want to do cancel. As you can see, on submit button right here, it has a red color, and the cancel button has the blue color. Alright, I want to make this cursor pointer, that looks bad. Alright, now we see the nice hand icon too. So you can use the props and access the data this way. The other way to do it is you can destructure it, and over here you can just get like individual props. It's just too busy, and now you can get rid of that. And as soon as you do that, your code should work as is. Alright, now this is pretty cool. Now we can make this a style button more reusable, so that we can have CSS file only at one place, and we can, depending upon the scenario, we can make the styles dynamic, so that way like we will have less code footprint basically. Now the other benefit of using style components is it provides a component called theme provider, where you can use this to, let's say, make sure like you have a consistent styles across your application. Let's say if I have a set of like defined, let's say if I have a color defined for my button to look like, I can like clearly define like what are the like global styles basically. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to app.js file, and here I'm going to define a few of my like theme on my app. So the way to do it is you can import theme provider from style components, and all you need to do is copy this and wrap your whole application underneath that theme provider. I'm just gonna cut this and put it at the end. My app is going to crash because what this theme provider needs, it needs a prop called theme itself. Theme equals to theme. It's not going to work again because we haven't defined the theme yet. So the way to define this theme is it's just going to be a basic object where you can pass any sort of theme that you like to use across your application. Now I'm just going to do const theme equals to, it's going to be an object, and let's say I'm dealing with colors here. Now I'm just going to do color, it's going to be object as well. And for the colors, let's say use case might be, let's say you want to have a separate color for like consistent color for a header, buttons, like background colors, those kind of stuff. But for the simplicity, I'm just gonna deal with button at this case. I'm just gonna do button of, let's say this is the like the global theme that we want to use for, let's say for the button it would be blue. Now the way to use theme on your style components is, right now we're just destructuring the background color, right, the busy. The other thing that you can destructure too is theme itself, since we passed this as a prop right here. And this theme object should have all of our default themes. I'm going to go back here. So what I'm doing here is, if there is a background color passed by the user, then use that one. Or rather than hard coding the value, since we added our default color on theme itself, we can just do theme dot color dot button. As you can see, it works as expected. Now we have really good control over what goes to the default values and what should be the dynamic values, because you can deal with dynamic values through props and you can deal with default value through themes. And this will make your application scale way more faster and way more easier than using the generic, like CSS. All right, I think that should be it for today's video. What I'll do is I'll push this code to the GitHub if you guys want to check out the source code. And this should provide you a good guidance on how to start using a style components and start exploring it. So if you guys enjoy this content on the channel, please feel free to give a thumbs up to the video and subscribe to the channel. And please let me know in the comments if you guys want to see any sort of like tutorials in particular. I'll be more than happy to do a video on that one. So I will catch you guys on the next video. Thanks.